We're going back to Proverbs 30. And we'll start at 8. And out of the King James, which everyone's familiar with, it is as follows. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee, and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal, and take the name of my God in vain. Accuse not a servant unto his master, lest he curse thee, and thou be found guilty. There is a generation that curseth their father, and doth not bless their mother. There is a generation that are pure in their own eyes, and yet is not washed from their filthiness. There is a generation, oh, how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. There is a generation whose teeth are like swords, and their jaw teeth as knives, to devour the poor from off the earth, and the needy from among men. The horse leech has 2 daughters, crying, give, give. There are 3 things that are never satisfied. Yea, 4 things say not. It is enough. The grave and the barren womb, the earth that is not filled with water, and the fire that saith not, it is enough. The eye that mocketh at his father, and despiseth to obey his mother. The ravens of the valley shall pick it out, and the young eagles shall eat it. There be 3 things which are too wonderful for me. Yea, 4, which I know not. The way of an eagle in the air, the way of a serpent upon a rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, and the way of a man with a maid. Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth, and saith, I have done no wickedness. For 3 things the earth is disquieted, and for 4 which it cannot bear. For a servant when he reigneth, and a fool when he is filled with meat. For an odious woman when she is married, and an handmaid that is heir to her mistress. There be 4 things which are little upon the earth, but they are exceeding wise. The ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their meat in the summer. The conies are but a feeble folk, yet they make their houses in the rocks. The locusts have no king, yet they go forth, all of them, by bands. The spider taketh hold with her hands, and is in kings' palaces. There be three things which go well, yea, four are comely in going. A lion, which is strongest among beasts, and turneth not away from any. A greyhound, and he-goat also, and a king against whom there is no uprising. If thou hast done foolishly in lifting up thyself, or if thou hast thought evil, lay thine hand upon thy mouth. Surely the churning of milk bringeth forth butter, and the wringing of the nose bringeth forth blood. So the forcing of wrath bringeth forth strife. Let's hear those verses out of another translation. Yah, I have asked of thee two things of you. Don't deny them to me as long as I live. Keep falsehood and futility far from me, and give me neither poverty nor wealth. Yes, provide just the food I need today. For if I have too much, I might deny you and say, who is Yah? And if I am poor, I might steal and thus profane the name of my God. Never disparage a slave to his master, or he will curse you, and you will deserve it. There is a type of people who curse their fathers and don't bless their mothers. There is a type of people clean in their own view, but not cleansed from their filth. There is a type of people, how haughty they look, utterly supercilious. There is a type of people whose teeth are like swords, yes, their fangs are knives. They devour the poor from the earth, the needy from humankind. The leech has two daughters. They cry, give, give. Three things are never satisfied. Four never say enough. Sheol and a barren womb. The earth never satisfied with water, and fire which never says enough. The eye that mocks his father and scorns obeying his mother will be pecked out by the ravens in the valley, and the vultures will eat it. Three things are too wonderful for me, four beyond my knowledge. The way of an eagle in the sky, the way of a snake on a rock, the way of a ship on the open sea, and the way of a man with a girl. I'm reading what's there. This is how an unfaithful wife behaves. She eats, wipes her mouth, and says, I did nothing wrong. Three things make the earth quake. Four things it can't bear. A slave who becomes king. A boar gorged with food. A hated in parentheses, wife, when her husband takes her back, and a slave girl who inherits from her mistress. 4 things on earth are small. Nevertheless, they are very wise. The ants, a species not strong, yet they store up their food in the summer. The conies, a species with little power, yet they make their home in the rocks. The locusts, who have no king, yet they all march out in ranks. And the spiders, which you can catch in your hand, yet they are in the king's palace. 3 things are stately in their stride, 4 of stately gait, G-A-I-T. The lion, mightiest of beasts, which turn aside from none. The greyhound, the billy goat, and the king when his army is with him. If you have been boorish, exalting yourself, or if you have been scheming, lay your hand on your mouth. For as pressing milk produces butter, and pressing the nose produces blood, so pressing out anger produces strife. Back to 8. Keep falsehood and futility far from me. And then he says, and give me neither poverty nor wealth. And of course, we all know that Proverbs it has been attributed to Solomon for having written this. And, for Solomon to say, give me neither poverty nor wealth, of course, that was after the fact that he was already made wealthy because of his desire for wisdom so that he could be a righteous king over the great people of Yah. Give me neither poverty nor wealth. And I know I had touched on this the last time I had the opportunity to come before you. That's where most of us are. We're about in the middle. And most of us would be considered middle class. Now, there's a wide range in that middle class. There's upper, there's middle, and there's lower middle. But the middle class is the group that is taxed the heaviest. And just a few days ago, and I'm not getting political, but I'm only sharing this because this is going to affect us. A bill has been proposed and passed, and then I think it's got to go to the Senate, but it's a huge bill, and it's mostly for, what is it, the green, the green initiative. But in that is a large sum of money that's been put aside so that they can hire 87 IRS agents. And it's quite concerning uh, for the middle class. We would think that they'll be going after the big businesses and maybe the 1% or the other people that aren't in the middle class. But they have very astute CPAs. The businesses have learned how to legally, in fact, the richest businesses don't pay taxes, and it's done legally. And unfortunately, these 87,000 agents, they're going to be coming after the everyday person. During this COVID scare, a lot of people, you all have heard of the gig economy, and I'm just saying, they may be driving for, Uber or, and in our culture, everybody says, hey, you got to get a side hustle. Well, that's who the IRS is going to be looking at. Small businesses. And when I say small businesses, I'm not talking about eeny-weeny businesses like mine. Small businesses, they might consider if you got 500 or less employees, maybe considered a small business. But Saints, I'm sharing this with you because it's going to affect us. It's going to affect us, and if you've got unfiled taxes, you need to start taking care of that. Economically speaking, in fact, there are individuals that operate in the prophetic. They're saying this is judgment on America and things of this nature. Folks, we've got to expand our vision. Everything isn't about America. Everything isn't about America, particularly when it comes to the Most High. Listen, everybody's having a hard time. I know everybody thinks what China's doing, well, China's got their own problems. And again, I'm not being political. All of this ties in with what I'm sharing with you. The Most High has a lot to say about what's going on in creation. Could we at least agree to that? Yes. And the devil, he has limits. Everything in creation has limits. And the limits have been set by the Creator. So keep that in mind when you're watching your programming. Please keep that in mind so that you can make good decisions. Because there's going to be another wave of circumstances where we're going to have to make some decisions again. Please. And give me neither poverty nor wealth. Yes, provide just the food I need today. For if I have too much, I might deny you and say, who is Yah? And if I'm poor, I might steal and thus profane the name of my God. And I've shared with you a lot in different translations. It just appears to be, because I don't know for sure, but it just appears that most of the people, most of the scribes, it's like they had a thing for people that had wealth. Even in the times of Yeshua, nobody liked Matthew. Why they didn't like Matthew? Because he was a tax collector. And, it really wasn't so much because he was a tax collector. It was because the tax collectors at that day kind of went overboard. See, they were following what Rome told them to do, but they put a little extra on people. And that's why they were resented. If they just did their job, hey, okay, you did this, you did that, give me 3 chickens and 2 cows, and, but they would say, hey, no, well, hey, Greg, y'all did real well. Man, I'm sorry, according to my calculations here, man, you got to give me 8 cows. See, what they turned into Rome was what Rome asked for, but they kept the excess, a lot of them. They were not honest in their dealings with their own people. So that's why tax collectors were not thought of very highly. So even back then, and because, really, there's been a law. There's been a law. The eviction notice, that's been up. And again, at the time when they were trying to curtail the virus, and they asked everybody, stay at home. And they gave us stimulus checks. And then we got used to staying at home, watching Netflix and whatever else we got. And again, I'm not knocking any of that, because technology is needful. But the whole time they were doing that, saints, there's no free lunch. There's no free lunch. It might not cost you, but somebody paid for that. And the church had, for a while, it's gotten away from it, and that's a good thing. The church had gotten to where they were looking for something for nothing. It was being preached from the pulpit. We would use terms like, well, I want God's price. Well, what does that mean? I got $9.95 on this thing. So are you saying my $9.95 is ungodly? Why do we always want a discount? America, our economy is based on consumption. You got to be buying stuff. See, that's why they gave us the stimulus checks. They wanted you to go out, not pay your bills, not get caught up, not stick it in the bank, and the bank made sure you didn't stick it in the bank. Why? Because they weren't giving you anything for it anyway. See, it's all tied together, folks. And again, I'm not fussing and I'm not being political. I'm just saying these are things that we have to consider. Decisions are going to have to be made, and it's right here. And this stuff was written a long time ago. Inflation. Again, now the Federal Reserve, they're trying to help us have a soft landing. They're really in a no-win situation. They're in a no-win situation because now there's discussion about another stimulus. And to us, that was like, hey, great. And again, if you get it, yeah, do something with it. Try to position yourself a little better. But eventually, we all gotta kind of pony up, folks. You know, yes, they can keep printing it, but the more they print and the more they send out and the more we spend, the value of the item that we're buying, the price go up, but the value go down. I mentioned the moratorium being lifted on the evictions. And, you know, rightly so. People were having a hard time, and they told them, hey, well, just stay in. And they told people, you don't have to pay your rent. And that was good for the renters. That was great. But they stopped one step short. Why did they call the mortgage companies of the landlord? Because, see, many landlords were still having to pay that mortgage. And they were looking for your rent to help them pay the mortgage because they were using what was called leverage. See, that's another thing that in our economy is used by large corporations. And what has happened, the little guy got in there and he bought some properties. And he put people in his properties. And before COVID, most people were paying their rent. So when they got the rent, they would take the rent, and then they would pay the mortgage, and then might have been obviously there was more left over, so that went into their pocket. Well, when the government said, you don't have to pay rent right now because we want everybody to stay put, and we're going to send you some money, what do you think the renters did? And, you know, and we all thought, oh, that's just so wonderful. And again, something had to be done. So I'm not criticizing. Something had to be done. But why didn't they go one step further? Because, see, landlords are people too. And landlords, a lot of landlords are in the middle class as well. But see, what's getting ready to happen now, besides that, the top percent, they've been sitting on their money. And you got some everyday folk live right here in this city, worked hard. Nobody gave them those houses. A lot of landlords had a lot of their properties foreclosed on. And you know, most people, they don't care. Most people don't care. And some renters treat other middle class people as if they're in the high echelon. Oh, they can handle it. Have you ever had somebody, and I don't know why we do this, people like to count other people's money. That's a fool's errand. We look at, the type of car they drive or whatever, or if they a business owner or whatever. And so when things get tough, we think, oh, they can handle it. You don't know how they're doing that. We'll borrow money from people, and we'll pay them back when we get ready. You know why? They don't need it. And some of them have the gall to tell you that to your face and kept their teeth. I mean, it's surprising. But see, when the bottom falls out, and it's going to fall out everywhere, everybody's going to have the same problem, including the United States, not just the United States. But all we seem to hear a lot of times from the people that want to give you the impression that they're in the know, this is against America. No, all creation is being judged. Everybody's catching a little bit of hell. And in that text, I'm not saying a bad word, folks. But what's going to happen is everything is going to be on sale for the rich. And like I said, that you might have a person, they may own 10 properties. And that's a lot. That's a lot. But if you use leverage to buy maybe 8 of them, you might have lost all 8. Who you think is going to scoop in and buy them? The fat cats. They sitting and they've been waiting. Come on. See, you even hear, if any of you follow the stock market, if any of you watch it sometime, and it is boring, but sometimes they have on TV, and every one of the networks have a business segment. When the market goes down, you'll hear one of the reps say, it's a sale, time to buy. Yeah, time to buy. But if you don't have the money, you can't buy it. When the market go down, yes, that's considered a sale. But if you've already spent your stimulus, because that's what they wanted you to do, what are you going to do now? I guess, Barry, I'll wait on another stimulus. And it may come. But what is that doing to the economy again? See, you can't spin your way out of trouble. Eventually, things have to balance out. It's the same way in your own individual homes. And then we get upset again with the wealthy because they buying everything up because it's on sale. And so now we're getting in the same vein as some of the people that translated some of this. But again, I'm telling you, not all wealthy people are evil. Not all wealthy people are evil. And not all poor people are virtuous. And something else I wanted to touch on too. Pastor Hodge did a wonderful teaching last week. And he was talking about evangelism. And he was trying to explain to us that what we've been calling evangelism really isn't evangelism. And he was right. And he read something, of course, out of the Bible. And it's an oversight on our part, because we have for years, and so have a lot of other fellowships, we have looked for people that we thought had a need. And we thought if we met the need, that we, and shared some scriptures, and probably later on invite them to the church, that, hey, we out there, we trying to evangelize. But there was one part that, and I believe it was Yeshua giving these instructions. He told them, listen, when you go somewhere and you come across seekers. See, that's the key. They're plenty needy. We all know the poor you will have with you always. But most churches, and this fellowship did the same thing. We went out and we tried to meet a need, but we didn't even inquire if they were seekers. And when I say seekers, I ain't talking about seeking financial aid, seeking help, seeking a sandwich, seeking whatever, seeking the Most High. That's the qualifier. That's the qualifier. But see, it's easier to just go, hey, well, let's go to, I don't want to call no name, let's go to this part of town, let's go to that part of town. And so what we're saying is, well, they got plenty of needs. And so what people do is, okay, you want to come to my house, Greg, and you're going to bring me a bunch of food, and you're going to bring some clothes for my kids? Come on. Come on. And look, I'm not saying that, hey, an act of cassette, that's beautiful. But most of us, when we were doing that, we thought we were evangelizing. And as a result of that type of evangelism, look around. See, most people will readily receive what you're giving away. But we were supposed to be in pursuit of people seeking the Most High. And I'm not making fun. I was out there too. I was trying to do what I could do. I was like, man, I'd be glad we can get out of here, though. Thought I was doing something. Hey, man. We're to be in pursuit of seekers. We're to live our lives in such a way that the way we live our lives, we are telling them we're seeking and I can help you seek. See, because real evangelism, as he pointed out, that takes time. It's more than a one-night dinner, and it's more to it than that. And most of us, we really rather keep our schedule, being honest. Well, let me stop. I would rather keep my schedule. It's a lot easier for me to just kind of go in my pocket. Oh, praise the Lord. What is the thing we used to say? The kingdom of God has come to you today. And I'm not making fun of that. That's a real scripture now. But it's easier to do that and keep doing what I got to do. Gang, it's going to take time to work with people. It's going to take our time to work with people. So if we really want to evangelize, do we have the time? And then when you bring them in, are we going to work with them? Are we going to sit with them? Are we going to walk with them? Yes, provide just the food I need today. For if I have too much, I might deny you and say, who is Yah? And if I'm poor, I might steal and thus profane the name of my God. Never disparage a slave to his master. I have a problem with that verse, but so what? I mean, we all have problems, but I'm curious as to why they use that particular terminology. Never disparage a slave to his master, or he will curse you and you will deserve it. And then he gets into these type of people. There is a type of people who curse their fathers and don't bless their mothers. There is a type of people clean in their own view, but not cleansed from their filth. Could he be talking about us? I mean, he ain't talking about you. Could he be talking about me? He could be. Let me read that again. There is a type of people clean in their own view, but not cleansed from their filth. There is a type of people, how haughty they look, utterly supercilious. Could he be talking about me again? And then listen to this one. There is a type of people whose teeth are like swords. Yes, their fangs are knives. They devour the poor from the earth, the needy from humankind. And in his translation, he says, the leech has two daughters. They cry, give, give. And I know when y'all heard give, we've been trained, what? Luke 6:38, give and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give unto your bosom. For what measure you meet, it shall be measured to you again. We all know that backwards, forward, sideways. They always say that when they're ready to lift the offering. I'm not ready to lift an offering. And I wasn't trying to impress you either. Give, give. 3 things are never satisfied. 4 never say enough. Sheol, a barren womb. The earth never satisfied with water. And fire, which never says enough. The eye that mocks his father and scorns obeying his mother will be pecked out by the ravens in the valley. And the vultures will eat it. Now that sounds kind of rough. The eye that mocks his father and scorns obeying his mother. So they're saying that can be male or female. That can be son or daughter. Niece or nephew. Grandson, granddaughter. So we don't want to do that. Will be pecked out by the ravens in the valley. And remember, there's another one. The valley of decision. Well, right now, saints, it looks like All creation is in the valley of decision. Things are rocky. Mm. But then he says this, 3 things are too wonderful for me, 4 beyond my knowledge, the way of an eagle in the sky. Now this one kind of threw me. He says, the way of a snake on a rock. If I see a snake on a rock, I'm going to throw something at it. The way of a ship on the open sea. And then the other one, which threw me off too, and the way of a man with a girl. I'm going to have to do a little more. I don't know why he chose that way. Then he talks about, really he could say spouse, but he says, this is how an unfaithful wife behaves. She eats, wipes her mouth, and says, I did nothing wrong. And here we go again. It says, 3 things make the earth quake. 4 things it can't bear. Here we go again. A slave who becomes king. A boar gorged with food. A hated wife when her husband takes her back. And a slave girl who inherits from her mistress. It appears to me that not only do a lot of the scribes and writers have a problem with wealthy people, they're a little tough on the ladies, in my opinion only. And that may come as a surprise to some of you that I would see it that way. Four things on the earth are small. Nevertheless, they are very wise. And this, to me, represents Emmanuel Worship Center. The ants, a species not strong, yet they store up their food in the summer. See, the way I'm teaching and I'm trying to keep you ahead of as best I can, because there's only so much I can do anyway. But I'm tired of us having to always react. We need to be proactive. If we know a storm's coming, if you don't have but one umbrella, get another one. Don't wait till it starts pouring. Greg, can I use your umbrella? No, I got that for Vern. You know? Four things on the earth are small, nevertheless, they are very wise. The ants, a species not strong, yet they store up their food in the summer. And I told you, if you get another stimulus, yeah, spend it, but, spend it wisely. Remember, I used to say all the time, if you're going to spend your money, please get some value for it. But that's the way our economy is. Our economy is built on, they need us to spend money to keep it going. We used to manufacture a lot. We don't manufacture as much. And again, I'm not being political. These things are relevant today. The conies, a species with little power, yet they make their home in the rocks. The locusts, who have no king, yet they all march out in ranks. And the spiders, which you can catch in your hand. I don't know too many of us that going to catch a spider in the hand. But I mean, I guess you can. I do know one fella. He'll grab him. He'll country boy, you know, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. I won't do it, but he'll do it. You know, in fact, if he see a bug in his house, he won't even kill the bug. He'll pick it up and he'll set it outside. I was like, wow, man, he's a merciful guy. I feel sorry for them that's in my house. It says, and the spiders, which you can catch in your hand, yet they are in the king's palace. That's right. However fine your place is, them bugs, them water bugs, I hope you ain't got a whole lot of roaches. But all of those creatures, they staying at your house and they ain't paying you no rent. A couple of summers ago, I had come in through my garage and come into through the garage and down into my basement, and it's got a little small bathroom down there, and I had to go. So I turned the light on, and on this, what do they call it, an etagere thing? You know, where you got towels and all that stuff, you know, trying to look, you know. There was a small snake round up. Now, I've killed plenty of snakes in my backyard because I got a ravine way down there, and it's woods all over everywhere. But this one was in the house, and he was comfortable. He probably was maybe about this big. Gave me the heebie-jeebies. I went and I got a long handle hoe. I cracked him. But I'm going to tell you, I was afraid. Because, see, he didn't belong in my house. I was like, hey, I live alone. And it scared me so bad, I couldn't finish paying my water bill. I said that because I'm telling you, take inventory of your surroundings. You might be surprised what you'll find. I remember Sherry was telling me that not in their new house, of course not, in their old house, they had a bat in the attic. I see it. They had a bat, I think, in the attic. Saints, check your houses. They got businesses that'll get critters out of your place. I'm saying that because, you know, your home should be your sanctuary. That's the one place all of us ought to be able to go and not only let your hair down, but take fire. Because there you can find solace, hopefully. There you can find peace, hopefully. There you can get yourself together and regroup. Because in the coming days, people are going to be coming to you for comfort, for assurance. And all they might want you to do is tell them, well, yeah, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna get through this. That might be all the assurance they need. But check around your domain. And I'm not trying to frighten anybody, but you'd be surprised what might be in your house, especially if you don't go often. And, usually we get home, you might sit in your TV room or whatever, go to the kitchen, get something to eat, go to the restroom. But there are other rooms. Maybe you got other bedrooms in there, and you don't go in there. If you don't go in there, that dust going to not only build up, but then you got dust mites. And you know what attract dust mites? Spiders. And like I said, if they ain't paying no rent, they got to go. Down to 3 minutes. And I am going to quit on time. 3 things are stately in their stride, 4 of stately gait. The lion, mightiest of beasts, which turns aside from none. Now, that's just a nice way of saying, hey, when he walking, you coming down the walkway, he ain't moving over. You gonna move over. I'm gonna close with this. Day before yesterday, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to one of the clubs to clean up. I got my cleaning caddy, dust broom, one of them dust pans, and a floor scraper. I'm carrying this in there, got the caddy, and I got the other stuff in this hand. And I parked across the street, and I'm coming up the sidewalk. And I hate when other people are out there. I love it when there ain't nobody out there, because I just want to get in there quick. But there was another gentleman coming toward me. And I'm like, man, my hand's full. If this go down bad, he going to get the first shot, because he didn't have nothing in his hands. Now, the guy ain't said nothing. He ain't saying nothing. I ain't saying nothing. We both coming toward each other. And I think the guys know what I'm talking about, because pray tell none of you ladies better not be out 4 o'clock in the morning walking nowhere. I want to hit you myself. Don't do that. Don't do that. I am not playing. You need to be in that time of morning. But he was coming toward me, and I got a bit apprehensive. And the reason I got apprehensive is because it was 4 o'clock in the morning. My hands was full. His hands was free. I said, man, he get off a good shot. By the time I drop everything, I don't know if I'm going to be able to respond. Now, all of this is going in my head. Now, the guy, see, chances are he was wondering, is he going to hit me with those things? That's the way guys think. See, that time of morning, if you ain't going to work, what are you out there for? That's my thing. I'm like, hey, and I'm going to tell you. All of that anxiety was building. And you know what happened? Nothing. He kept going his way. I kept going my way. But I did cut my head back, because I said he might try to come back behind me. It's amazing what darkness does to you. Because y'all know good and well, and I got right tickled. I said, that's all they need to hear. Pastor gets hit in the head, 3 o'clock in the morning, going into the club. I'm glad that we were smiling and laughing. And Reg, I'm closing. What I shared with you today, we are going to be okay. We are going to be okay. But folks, please immerse yourself in Proverbs. Pick out, I don't care, pick out your favorite. Go over it. There's a message in you in there that is relevant today. That book is full of wisdom, and all of it will help us make better choices, better decisions. My main prayer is that our youth get a hold of some of the wisdom that's in that book so that they don't make the same kind of decisions we made. For real. For real. God bless you.